welcome to the stream! Today's stream is a tier list stream of Witch from Mercury Mecha. So I am definitely very excited for this. I love doing these tier list streams. It's been a while since I did the last one. Last one was Gundam Build Divers. And like the Gundam Build Divers one, as you can probably... Actually, no, you probably can't see it right from just the... right here. Actually, there aren't... Yeah, you can probably just barely see a few that are not from the original show. So that does include all like side materials. So if there was a Witch from Mercury MSV, that would include that. I wish there was. That would be great. But that it also includes mainly it includes Vanitas Heart. There's not really much side story outside of Vanitas Heart. I guess you could count the prologue maybe, but the prologue doesn't have any mecha that isn't in the main show, except maybe the Beggar Bow. I don't actually remember if the normal Beggar Bow was in the show. The Beggar Pente was, but I don't remember about the Beggar Bow. So, oh, I need to turn on my BGM. And then also, the Wolfpack, welcome to the stream. I don't think I've seen you here before, so yes, welcome to the first stream where you're chatting, at least. NeoXNeo, hello, welcome, it's been a while. Soupy, hello, welcome to the stream, and Oknamod, welcome. I'm feeling a little better tonight, although the food tastes bad to me. Well, it sucks that the food still tastes bad to you, but I'm glad you're doing a little bit better. Water, 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 water. Yes, okay. I will hydrate. Today I have both water for like hydrating, and I have chocolate milk. That's the first time I've had chocolate milk while I was streaming. So while I do these tier lists, I usually listen to like Spotify. And the song that happened to come on right now as I'm starting the tier list, I don't have you guys listen because, you know, copyright stuff. So you guys get BGM, but I listen to Spotify, and the song that happened to come on was I Am by Aimer, so it just happened to play a song from Gundam. If not Witch from Mercury, but from Gundam, so that's neat. Anyway, one more thing before we really start the tier list. This is said in the description of the YouTube video and a version of the stream, the video or the YouTube side of things, I should say. Also, so I'm gonna be more dumb than usual today because I just woke up literally like half an hour ago. My sleep schedule is fucked. Anyway, I need to not get off track too much. But it's it also should be obvious, but I want to mention before we really start the stream that all of this is very much my own subjective opinion, and you are very much likely to disagree. This is not a list based on power. It's also not a list based on what I think is objectively a better design. This is just my own personal opinion. So please don't get angry when you're... Actually, no, you know what? Never mind. Actually, maybe do get angry and leave comments or chats and whatever if I put your favorite mobile suit low, because that boosts me in the algorithm. So actually, never mind. Feel free to get angry if I put your favorite low. So starting off with the Beggar Bow, I actually loved this right from when it was first revealed, before the show even came out. This was my first Witch from Mercury Gunpla, which I got before the show even came out. So this is, the line art is spectacular. It shows the like proportions of how it is in the show, like perfectly. This like usually Kui no Wakawara's line art has a bunch of problems where it doesn't look like it does in the show. I'm looking at you, Freedom and Justice Gundam line arts, especially from the new movie. But Kanatani Miko's line art does not have that problem, and this line art is spectacular. Chris, hello, welcome to the stream. When all engagement is apparently good engagement according to a math equation, basically. Junior Member, I don't think you've been I've seen you on Twitter, I've interacted on Twitter, but I don't think you've been in one of my streams before, so welcome, yes, and yes, which for Mercury tier list. Well, that's my favorite, I'll be saying this to every future picture. Okay. As long as you treat the Liffords you fairly. Well, we'll get there when we get there. So the weight has all these like black details. I really like that. It's a interesting style of detailing. In a lot of ways, you can tell this is a Kanatani Bikawa design. These feet they're very Kanatani Bikawa. Kanatani Bikawa likes the weird feet, and I gotta say, I'm all for it. I love the weird feet too. I will admit, I probably most of my favorite designs tend to have somewhat more normal feet, but I really like the interesting feet like this, and the big thighs are a plus. I like the way the silhouette makes it look like a fairy. The glass parts, I actually got into an argument on Twitter before which Mercury came out about the glass looking parts, where he was one of the people with like a Char Aznavour like profile picture saying, oh, it's not real Gundam. Real Gundam's the only you see, but not Unicorn and not late you see. It's only the ones I say are real Gundam because they're gritty and grounded. Also, I hate new types. It was one of those types. One of the types that calls everyone else tourists. Of course, it's a Char PFP. It's like not every Char PFP, but somehow always a Char PFP. One of these days I have to fire up Regime again and try to play Gundam Side Story 0079. I would like to play Gundam Side Story 0079, but only if I can either get my hands on the proper controllers for each part on the original hardware, or if I can properly emulate those controllers. It was one of the first Gundam games in the US, and they tried to link it to Wing somehow. What? Okay, I had no idea they tried to link it to Wing. That's actually really funny. Anyway, so I really like the combined gun things here and the swords. I also really like the way this torso was done. It's kind of thin there, but not too thin. Not all Char PFPs have bad takes, but when there's a bad take, it's usually Char PFP. Yeah. I had a Char PFP, but I'm open to all takes on that. Well, like I said, it's not all Char PFPs, but just somehow always a Char PFP. Like most people with Char PFPs they're fine. It's just that the crazy ones always have a Char PFP because they idolize Char, not realizing that Char is actually pathetic, and that's like the most important thing about his character. But anyway, the sensor pods I really like, or not sensor. I don't know why I said sensor. The gun suppressing pods, and it was interesting the way this was portrayed in the anime. I like the blades in the head. Yeah, in general, I really like. First of all, I'm a swords girl, and then also I really like in general, I like combined melee and ranged weapons. So things like gun blades or Exia's sword, they're all great. And this one, not only is it really nice, it's also one of the more realistically plausible things compared to something like Exia's sword. Not gonna lie, the purple could be a tad darker shade. It blends into the white visually, at least to me. The shape silhouette is sick though. I don't personally agree. I think the purple is fine, but I can definitely see where you're coming from. Thoughts on the Keyblade? I know very little about the Keyblade. I do know that the way the handguard is would prevent it from really being a good weapon. And then also I know that the only Keyblades I've seen have all had a chain at the bottom. And I actually used to have a sword with a chain at the bottom. It was a sword the main character uses when he's powered up form from Bleach, so it's just like the katana. I wouldn't be comfortable taking it anywhere because the manji crossguard, the tsuba is in the shape of a manji, which is way too close to a swastika for me to be comfortable taking that anywhere. And I also actually don't care about Bleach, but the reason I got it, I think I might have mentioned this on the stream before, is I found it at a Goodwill. And I wasn't about to not buy a katana. I found it at the Goodwill. Just because that's so absurd. You wouldn't think you'd find a katana at a Goodwill. So I bought it. So I do know that chains on the back of swords I actually removed the chain because it was whenever I want to like hit like wood things, which I probably shouldn't because it is not a full tang. It is a display sword. But I actually don't care because I just bought it for like 15 bucks and I don't really care about it that much. I don't do it with my Munotama blade, which is also a display sword. I love the design. It looks like a bunny. It does actually. It kind of does look like a bunny, with the way that the head is. Soupy, is this now more your favorite? Now that it's been mentioned that it looks like a bunny. That is expert. Somebody had a very brief cosplay phase. The replica sword I kept so fun to swing around and be done with my living room when I'm stressed. Yeah, basically. 15 bucks for Goodwill is a crazy find. Yeah, for sure. And then also, welcome to the stream. I am going to probably really mess up this pronunciation, so I'm terribly sorry about that. But, Andikarasid Suma Dinata. Yes, I think I probably, botched that pronunciation, but I did my best, so we're gonna call it probably, fine until I'm corrected. You can call me Dika. Okay, that's much easier to say for somebody who is not used to names from whichever language that is. So yes, welcome to the stream, Dika. I don't think I've seen you before. Godwill sounds like a place where you'd find 2000 JRPG weapons secondhand. There's a meme I love where there's like angry eyebrows drawn on the Goodwill face, and it says Badwill. I have it saved somewhere on my PC. I don't feel like finding it, especially because we still haven't gotten past one mobile suit. But Badwill was really funny. My wife's Goodwill find was this sealed Xenogears. Oh wow. Anyway, I really like this neck here. Actually, the neck and also this like weird ball thing here both remind me a little bit, and actually the torso too, remind me just a little bit of Jehudi from Zone of the Enders. So huge pluses there. I love Jehudi. So yeah, I really love this one. We're gonna actually, I might even put it in S. It feels, I'll put it in A. It feels wrong to put something in S right at the start. The bug-like designs are amazing. Yes. As a Dunbine fan, I wholeheartedly agree. I need to get the Master Grade Dunbine. Okay, next. This is actually the second, might show us the second Witcher Mercury Gunpla I got. The Zawart. I got it specifically because this is a very Armored Core-like design. This was my favorite. Good to know, Soupy. So I actually am not planning on keeping my Zawart. I would like another Zawart in the future, but my current Zawart, I really wish I got the Zawart Heavy, which I'll do later. Because my Zawart is going to be I'm making it into an Armored Core. It doesn't get to say it's a Zawart, sadly for it. Actually, let me make that a bit smaller. And then, can I zoom this in a bit? There we go. That's better. Okay, now you can see the top part of this. It's not cut off anymore. So, I really like the visor shape, which, by the way, anybody who has a high grade Zawart, get a chrome Gundam marker for that. He looks like the Doomslayer compressed, and I love that about him. Kinda, yeah. I really like these thrusters on the hard points there. I love the gun design. The gun design is one of the very Armored Core-like things about it. It actually reminds me of one Nerf gun that I have that I got specifically because it reminded me of something from Armored Core. It's great except for the fact that it keeps breaking. I'm not too crazy about the way that they did these hard points, but I'm glad there are hard points there, so I don't... We'll say it comes out as about even. I love the way that this chest is shaped, and then these, vents to each side it's perfect, and it widens the silhouette, which is great. I'm not too crazy about these feet, but they do really work with the design. I love the thrusters here at the back, and in general, the whole knee shape, other than the fact that it's a little bit weirdly compressed, is great. I'm not a huge fan of the way the shoulders are done, but again, that's a hard point, so it's we'll say it's fine. It has a good core design to it. I love the AC vibes. Yes, exactly. It's like with this one, there's really nothing to say that's bad about it, honestly. I'm kind of trying to come up with something bad to say about it, but there's not much. This like joint is maybe a little like big. The thigh gap is hilarious when you put them with others, like they're but standalone it kind of works. I guess so, yeah. But that's what I love about Witch from Mercury, is the way that every, like, well, not every, but all the major design creators have their own designer. And some of the minor ones, even like the Hammerfield Corporation, still has its own designer. Which we'll get to. But all the major ones have their own designers, so we get a very, like, well, varied works. Similar to, like when you see an American jet, even if you've never seen that one before, you can tell it's American. And when you see a Russian one, you can tell it's Russian. When you see a European one, you can probably tell that it's European. And even if you haven't seen that before, there's a consistent design language that's separate from the others. And that's similar to how we see it in Witch from Mercury. It's done. The only thing I would say that did that as well, maybe, is Gundam 00 with the 3 economic blocks, but even that, maybe not. That Witch from Mercury might actually outdo 00 at that point, or in that way. And you know, if I'm saying it's better than 00 in any way, it really must be, because I will take any opportunity to glaze 00 because I love 00. Getting a Gundam game with AC6 combat would be godly. Breaker is close, but not quite. Ideally, without the stamina system. I'm not a big fan of stamina system for Armored Core. I'm an aircraft nerd, so that hits home and is a good analogy. I also am kind of an aircraft nerd. Soon I'm going to have an airbrush so I can finish working on my Supermarine Spitfire. Although generally I tend to prefer jet aircraft. Anyway, I should get on with it. This is going to go in A, but just barely below the bigger bow. Okay, and now let's go straight for a somewhat more obscure one. The Hippolytus from Biotechnical Lab. So, it's not just obscure a bit, because it was only in one scene where it fought the aerial rebuild. It's also a very weird design, but I say that in a good way. It sort of has Gundam X vibes. Gundam X sort of let their mobile suits be like way more chunky like this. And I'm a huge fan of that. I really like this big thruster there. And then I don't remember if these are cannons or sensors. I'm pretty sure they're cannons though. But that's really nice. I love the Sazabi like cord here. And the big antenna, although maybe the big antenna is not great considering it's for dueling, and the antenna if the antenna breaks, it's destroyed. But I think it looks cool, so that's more what matters. And then the way the thrusters are arranged here is very good. I like that a lot. That would give it a ton of mobility. And we're never getting a kit of this. Like just so everybody here knows, it's not happening. If you're lucky, maybe some third-party company will make a resin kit, but honestly, even that probably not, because it literally only has like a minute of screen time at most. The header reminds me of the Reborn's cannon mode. It kind of does, yeah. But flatter. But yeah, I really like this one. The only thing is, I'm really not sold on the feet. It works with the cohesive design, but I'm not a big fan of the shapes. So for that, we'll put it in C tier. Okay, another obscure design, Rudy and Wilson's Ginente. So the head looks very snake-like to me. This is another one that was just shown for like a few, not even like maybe a few seconds when it was fighting the aerial rebuild. under a minute. I'm a big fan of this gun design. It's simple, but it works. It sort of reminds me a little bit of the Jesta's beam rifle, which was actually the main beam rifle I used in Gunbreaker 2. I really like the shield, and in general, it's like, it looks weird in the perfect way. The backpack is almost Crossbone Gundam-like, but probably a little bit more grounded than Crossbone. I didn't see it because of ads, but this one's my favorite. You didn't see the last one either, unfortunately. So, I love the weird snake-like head, particularly it's like, the visor reminds me of the visor of the Precursor service vessel in Star Control 2. That's what it reminds me of. Gotta have a good look at the rest of the stream. The way you talk about Gundam is really chill. Okay, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Have a good rest of your day then. So the lack of legs is, you know, the legs are extraneous on a mobile suit. This one gives ball energy, kind of. I think it's because of the lack of legs. And it definitely, to me, it almost, the feel with the long arms and the fact that it doesn't have like legs hanging down, it almost feels like the Barbas. Except the Barbas is for space use only, and this is for aerial combat. Ironically, considering it did not defeat the Ariel, the Gundam Ariel, but you know, for combat in the air, I mean. Jokes aside. But I love the lanky appearance this one has. It kind of looks like an HMS, mostly the head. That's actually, yeah, I can see it. And not knowing who mechanically designed this, I'm gonna guess it was probably, the name escapes me. What's his name? Actually, no. No, this is probably Kanetani Ibikawa with how the rifle is. I'll look. GL equals girls love and good luck, which can only mean girls love is innately a great fortune. That's true. Okay, no, this was Kanetani Ibikawa. I'm trying to remember the name of the guy that I thought it might be. It was the guy who designed Dynamis. I know the guy, but I forgot his name. Let me look. Takayuki Yanase. Okay, for a second I thought it was Takayuki Yanase, and honestly, Takayuki Yanase and Kanetani Ibikawa have a somewhat similar design language, which might be why they were both just used for the 00 Gundam designs. But anyway, I'm getting off track. Yes, this is, it's at a point where I might where I did mistake it for a Takayuki Yanase design, but no, it is. I looked at it and it is apparently Kanetani Ibikawa. But yeah, I do tend to love Kanetani Ibikawa's designs, and I like that he's not afraid to do weird and strange things like this. And this is going to get a B tier. I really like this one, for what it is anyway. Okay, and now for the Desultor. This one's my favorite. Okay, good to know. So the Desultor is like, this one's even more Doom Guy-like, honestly. So I'm not a huge fan of the feet and the ankle joint. I don't have anything against it exactly, but I'm just not a big fan. The 3-fingered hand is interesting. I haven't seen Ippei Gobyo. I haven't seen Ippei Gobyo do something like that, and this is an Ippei Gobyo design. It is a Jeturk design after all, so. Anyway, I really like this shield. This is a nice Zaku. Well, it's almost a Zaku 1 analogy. Oopie goopie, oopie goopie, goopie oopie. Okay, Soupy. Soupy's oopie goopie messages. So I really like this gun. That's one of the things that I think Ippei Gobyo is great at, is this sort of like compact SMG style of gun, and I love that. The way that this is like, the cockpit is shaped is very nice. Giving late Zaku 1 energy, particularly when you contrast it to the Delanza, which is basically the series Zaku 2. Yeah, it's very nice. I like the way this joint is done. I'm trying to think of what that reminds me of, but I can't. Oh, it sort of reminds me of the ones, almost sort of the ones in Transformers 1, but a little bit more realistic. I like this like knee plate. Definition of Gundam S. Yes, very much. This is even more Gundam S than the Delanza. This is apart from the Demi. This is the grunt. The Demi is the only thing I can think of in Witcher Mercury that's more grunt than this. And this does that role really well. I like the visor design quite a bit also. This is actually, I think, one of my favorite Ippei Gobyo designs, because typically I'm not a huge... Typically Ippei Gobyo designs to me are just okay. So we'll give this, for now, high C tier, because I really like a lot of the Witch Mercury ones. So I have to put things lower than I want. That's another thing I forgot to mention earlier. Everything's placement is relative to their series. All of these, I would love to put in like S or A, because I love the Witch Mercury designs. I don't want to put any of these in D or C. So, but I have to, otherwise what's the point? Why are we doing a tier list if we're going to put them all in A or S? So it's got to be relative to the series. Like, if you put any of these in a tier list of Baver's Transformers, it would be an S, I promise you. Because these designs are all wonderful relative to all of those. I'm reading your mind and to see the next one. It's right here, Soupy. You can see it right there. Speaking of, now it's the short set, which I actually have a high grade of in my backlog. So I love the short set. I'm not a big fan of the sword when it's in this like giant huge form, but when the bits come off and it's the small like purple sword, I love that. The feet they're very hoof-like. Like, you thought the Iron-Blooded Orphans mecha feet were hoof-like, but no, this is a whole other way. Like, a whole other level. I like where the shell units are. I like these, like, back parts of the feet. And the hoof-like feet works for this. The face is very interesting for a Gundam with those 3 like little vertical mouth slits, but I really like it. It feels nice and fresh and new. This almost with the white color and the like circle almost reminds me of the Enki from Gurren Lagann. Again, we've got a somewhat similar joint design, which I really like. And then it's got that like circular torso. You can tell this is an Ippei Gobyo design. The vents being so low is interesting. Berserk sword, that's true. And it's neat that the bits go on the sword to give it that appearance. I do still much prefer the smaller form of the sword. I'm not typically a fan of these giant swords on mechs. I mean, I don't have anything against that. I just prefer smaller swords. But yeah, this one is going to get, I think, let's put this at B tier, but under that one. Yeah. It's good, but it's not quite Genente good. Okay, next is the Gunvolvo, which apparently I'm told was actually a what's the word? A submission to the design for the Ariel. It was Takayuki Yanasei's Ariel submission, and you can definitely tell this is a Takayuki Yanasei design. It is absolutely his style. And I won't say that I'm glad this or that I wish this was Ariel, or rather something derived from this was Ariel. But I do like this more than Ariel. Honestly, I haven't like spoilers for where the Ariel will be placed comparative to this, but yeah. I have some opinions on Ariel. You'll see. But it's got, again, that sort of small SMG style beam rifle. This is not an SMG, but it's the same style of design where it's like a nice and compact and very blocky, and I really like that for guns for Mecha. One of my favorite aspects is the head. It's very Gundam Age, like Age 2 or G-Bouncer, and I love that. I love that style. You'll see, you guys have probably already, if you've been watching the others, you've probably already noticed that pattern, and it will continue today. The arms, you can see the inspiration from his work on 00 Mecha. They're somewhat similar to things like, that is I don't know if you guys can even see it. Yes, you can. That is I don't think we have a mod here, so I'll just ban, there we go. Okay, I banned the, evil, no wait, cheap viewers. Guys, you should buy bots for my stream. You guys don't do that, by the way. I just realized somebody might. Don't do that. I really don't want you to do that. Somebody might not realize I'm joking. Anyway, I really like the backpack. The backpack is great. I love buying fake numbers. It's like, what's the point if I won't be able to sustain it unless I just keep throwing money at it? And it's not actual growth, so I'm not actually reaching more people, and I'm not able to actually entertain them. But even if I was just focused on, like growing, there's also the risk associated with it. It's like, why? Anyway, you can very much, it feels somewhat similar to in general shape to designs like the Cheridum from 00, but it's more sleek and more representative, or it's better for this design, let's say. I really like this like V-fin design. Oh, you just haven't been able to see there we go. I really like this V-fin design here. The shield design is very interesting too. I'm trying to think of what it reminds me of, but it reminds me of something else he did. I'm pretty sure it was a Takayuki Anase design. Oh, it was the Shining Gundam Break is what it reminds me of. I don't actually remember if that was Takayuki Anase. Let's find out. Ah. My keyboard does this thing where it will do occasionally, very rarely, it'll do one letter I press instead of one time, like 20. Okay. Yes, it is a Takayuki Anase design, and that is what the shield reminded me of. It's the same sort of shape as the Shining Gundam Breaks shield. So, the legs I really like. They flow wonderfully, despite the fact that it's generally there's not like a bunch of curves, but it still has a nice flow to it, and I really like that. It's great. The skirt armor is very interesting, which I really like, but mostly I love the way this I like it when mobile suits have this thin waist, but not in the. I don't like it the way Iron Blooded Orphans does it. I like it this way. Yeah, the way it goes in like that and then back out. Yeah, it's done perfectly. And then it's the point at the chest. It's that just makes it. It ties it all together, makes it perfect. She reminds me of the Nod Layer Plutonite. Well, he also. Well, no, he didn't do those. I think he might have done Plutonite. No, that was also kind of Tani Bikoa. But he seems to have learned, in some ways, he seems to have learned from kind of Tani Bikoa's 00 designs when he worked alongside him for it. Like, for instance, these V-fin parts feel very similar to Arios from 00. In general, this one, it sort of has Gundam 00 vibes, if I'll be honest. Like, if you had told me, oh, hey, this is a leaked design from the 00 thing, like the new 00 show, or if this is from a new 00 MSV they're unveiling. Look, it's like a celestial being mass production thing. I would have said, oh wow, really? Maybe I wouldn't have believed you just because more 00 content before the new show in 2027, but no, it's okay. I don't know why I didn't just say it like this in the first place, but it's believable this could be from a 00 design. My brain doesn't exist. I really like these knee plates. Moving on away from my stupidity, and also these thrusters here. The feet sort of remind me of Gundam Age feet, like the Age 1 specifically, which is great. And I wonder if that's another one. The elbow joints look perfect for GN condensers. Yeah, exactly. It's like it almost feels like a 00 design that was just like hastily swapped out to be Witch from Mercury, you know? You could probably even like make this part and this part like body panel colored, and then make this like a GN condenser in the chest. Man, I might actually have to do that. Oh man, whoa! I might actually have to do that for redesigning my custom like build fighter style mobile suit. Anyway, it gets S. Yes, it deserves. That's our first S tier of the day. Why do I not have the high grade? Because I'm broke. There we go. Okay, now for the Dartabaldi. So this one, a lot of people really, really love. Does it win or lose versus Titan Speakerman? I don't know. I don't want to know. This one, not so much. You don't like this one, Soupy? So I do like the spear. I actually just made a spear today. Well, yeah, it was today. Anyway, I like the shield binders here. The head is nice. I like the head, except I'm not too big a fan of how this horn is like curved. We see that consistent design language at the short set with this like circle thing here. It emanates a sinister aura. Okay. This is very much an Ippei Gobyo design with like the way these like black marks on the knees here. That's very Ippei Gobyo. I'm glad that I've experienced enough mecha designs that I can get a feel for like when a design is by a specific mechanical designer. I feel, for me at least, it lets me appreciate it more. We've got Ippei Gobyo's very good like inner joint designing. A lot of ones don't really bother with that and just make it so you can't really see it very well. But Ippei Gobyo he always makes it so you can see it, and it's very nice. It always goes with the design very well, I feel. I like these like white parts here a lot too. I'm not a big fan of the way this like the way that it points, the way it's like, yeah, you know. But I don't hate it. And then the feet are interesting too, although they almost feel like they would. They feel like they could get in a or like they feel like Pale could try and sue them. But anyway, I do really like this one, especially with its second like equipment set. We'll put it in C right there, I think. Okay, next is Choo Choo's Demi Trainer. I actually have had a lot of opportunities to get this as high grade, and I have not done it. So I do like the way that the sniper scope is added here, as well as certain pieces of armor being removed to make it more sniper-like. And I enjoy the fact that compared to the normal Demi Trainer, you can see that this is an older model, which is also reflected in the model number, where the normal one is MSJ121, and Choo Choo's Demi Trainer is MSJ 105cc, so it's based on the 10, whichever one the 105 is. The cursive 2-minute ad break. Sad. Well, at least 2 minutes isn't that long. Okay, so I like the way that I see that it has changed with my incredible vision. This one's my favorite. Okay. So the hand design with the 3 fingers is nice. I like that. And the way that with the demis in general, the hands are swappable. That was really cool. I didn't expect that when I first saw the design. The feet feel a bit insubstantial, but I can be fine with that. I don't hate it. I like the cable from the sniper rifle. That's nice. It's interesting that this is like the Burian, in general, I believe is also designed by Kanetani Bikoa, whereas he also did Grassley. But it's, I think it is, but it's a very different, like, it's like a whole different side of his mechanical designing, honestly. But I really like the cable for the sniper rifle. That's very nice. And in general, the sniper rifle, like, as a whole, is very cool, and I like it a lot. But overall, it's, the demi design in general doesn't really do it for me. Large singular shoulder pad. Yes, that would be thanks to the Zaku 2. This one has it too, large singular shoulder pad. So we'll put this in C tier right here, and we'll maybe put this down to D for now. Hopefully we can take that out of there eventually. I actually don't want to do, well, I can do this before area, why not? So the Caliban or Caliburn or Calibarn. So a note on the names. So all three names have a different, like, origin. So Caliburn is the, like, I believe Welsh version of Excalibur, basically. Sometimes it would be said to be a dagger with shadow abilities. Sometimes it would be a sword that was basically just a different name for Excalibur. So why would this be named after Excalibur? Well, then that's where then the possible version of the name that is Caliban comes in. Caliban is a character from The Tempest, like Prospera and Ariel. So it seems really obvious to me that it should be named Caliban, because it's a character from The Tempest, like half the names from Mercury. I'm exaggerating, obviously, but you get the idea. But Bandai, in its infinite wisdom, has decided that it should be called Calibarn, which sounds kind of dumb because it's barn, and is an odd mush of Caliburn and Caliban. So I'm just going to keep calling it Caliban because I want to, and nobody can stop me. I really like, so first of all, the way this is like shaped like a coffin, representing the way that it doesn't really care about the pilot's safety, is very nice. I do feel like it sort of stole the whole, like, identity of the guard frames from Nice of Sidonia, you know, the all white color scheme, the especially when the, like, feet fold up for space, use the big cannon, the way it's held from the top. But I don't feel like, it doesn't feel like plagiarism or anything, and it was probably honestly accidental, especially when you consider the fact that this is, like, intended to look like a witch's broomstick, which, by the way, I really like that. I do have a Caliban, and J&T Head's designs, they're great. The designs are great for the most part, but the line art is not wonderful. It's not his strong suit. Kind of similar to Kanetani Bikoa, but I feel like not as bad as Kanetani Bikoa. Not Kanetani Bikoa. Kanetani Bikoa's line arts are great. I meant Kunio Akawara. Yeah. Kunio Akawara's line arts have the issue. Not Kanetani Bikoa. I can't as the kids say, slander the goat. But yeah, it's J&T Head's designs, or like line arts, are not great, not as bad as Kunio Akawara, but yeah, not great. But anyway, the design is wonderful. I really like the gay permit. This one looks like it smells bad. How about the Anavata? Don't worry, that one is coming up. I did not forget it. Although in the future, if there's any, when I do future tier lists, if there's any ones you don't want me to forget, you can join my Discord server. I always make sure to ping both the Inner Circle ping and the Gunpla content ping about if there's any ones that you want to make sure that I don't forget in my server before I do any of these tier lists. So that was actually one of the ones that somebody made sure I did not forget. I already had it in there, but so if in the future, if you want to make sure there's ones that I don't forget, then join my Discord server. But stream plug out of the way. I do really like the big thighs are nice, as with all of the similar designs to Caliban in this show. I'm a huge fan of the like thrusters back here, and I wish there was line art of the bit on form when it takes the area rebuilds bits, because I really think that the bit on form works so well with the design, but unfortunately there is not, so we'll have to be content with this one for now. Maybe I'll make a bit on form line art, but I really like the way that these like cheek ones are. And in general, like I said, I really like the gay permit. The gay permit's the best part. That's a big part of why I got it. I'm planning to build HD Caliban tomorrow. I'm taking a break from building in a gun today. Oh, nice. Later today, I'm probably going to finish, not finish, but I'm gonna, well, maybe finish. Building my around 1/100th scale Jehudi from Zone of the Enders. Either that or the high grade G-Quacks. So this one also gets S tier, but below the gun vulva. So not to throw S tiers all in a row, but the gun node, I absolutely love this. I cannot believe I was too broke so broke that I missed out on getting the P band I won. What is the purpose of living if I can't have HD gun node? Why did it have to be P Bandai? So I love, mostly the legs are so perfect. I love the way that they like flow, especially with this like, so you can, yeah, I love the way that this is like, the thruster specifically, and the way the thruster contributes to the overall like flow, especially the way that these parts, these like little fins it's so perfect. The only thing I'm not a big fan of is the big helmet, the bucket hat. But this is another one where you can definitely tell this is a Kanetani Bikowa design. I actually don't even remember, but this one looks like the X to everything app. You're just saying that because it's in the shape of an X. Don't be rude to this. The way it doesn't have arms is interesting. Instead opting for like inbuilt weapons. I also really like the like head fins. I love head fins. The shoulders are very interesting with these like thrusters here, and I like that a lot too, as well as the backpack. The hat has the GM face stretched onto it. Oh, I can't unsee it now. Oh no! The head looks like Turn-A Gundam more or less. It does have that like mouthpiece. Yeah. Again, we have that where it gets thinner at the center in the torso, which I really like. The waist, with the waist you can tell it's the same mechanical designer as the bigger bow. Is the way that I'll put that. But I think it's fine. The feet are, like, everything about the feet and this ankle armor especially is, like, wonderful. I love it. I love everything about it. And then also you can still tell that it's based on, the aerial somewhat. And this is also going to be an S tier, not to like, you know, throw a bunch of S tiers all in a row. Okay, now for one that a lot of people are gonna get angry at me for. The Hindry. I don't remember if I put the Hindra or the Hindra in there. I remember I didn't put the Hindry Sturm because it's basically just the Hindry with different weapons and a lack of like blade antenna there. But yeah, this is another kind of Tanibiko design, but this one I'm not a big fan of. For one, what are we doing here? You put the Gunvolva at S tier. I put the Gunvolva at the top of S tier. I love the Gunvolva so much. Anyway, so the I'm not a fan of the head. It's very like, it looks like somebody took its head and then enlarged it slightly and then punched it on the top of the head really hard, and it's like in a cartoon, and then slammed the head into the body. I like to think it looks funny when it's small. I do like the thighs a decent amount, and then you can tell it has a shared design history with the beggar bow, which is really nice because it does in universe. I think its shield is, I'm not a big fan, but it could work with a different design. The shoulders I'm about even on. I approve it. I love the Gunvolva design. I even built 3 of them. I wish I had a Gunvolva high grade. One of the big things that throws me off is these damn feet. I appreciate Ganatani Bikuwa like trying to do something new, but God, I hate these feet. It looked like a knight more or less to me. I can agree with that, but I hate these feet so much, and it's like, I don't like the way the design flows personally. So I'm actually gonna put this in D tier. These are ugly feet. Yes, very much, I think. Okay, the live with her. Okay, so this is another Takayuki Yanase design, and you can see the like where it may have been somewhat influenced by his 00 work for things like Virtue's line. So it's got a similar thing in the face to the Raphael. The arms are very chunky. I like that a lot. And I really like the feet. I'm gonna be honest. I honestly thought that this and the Liquid Thorn were gonna like combine in the show. I'm kind of sad that never happened. Virtue's long lost brother. I almost see it as more like Ceravi's long lost brother, but Ceravi and Virtue are practically like related anyway in that way. So either one works. So I really like seeing people turn into a tetrapod. That's true. The design works really well for that. I like the way that the like shell units are done, and compared to something like Ariel, it feels, the shell units feel less like a test, and they feel more like, they feel more combat focused, and I really like that. It does that really well. But yeah, I don't have too much else to say about it other than I really like the V-fin, but it's a very solid design. It's gonna go in A tier or B tier, I think. Maybe. Well, let's put it in B. Okay, now the Liquid Thorn, which I actually do have a high grade of. I originally got the Liquid Thorn because I wanted to use its legs to make reverse jointed legs for an Armored Core one, but this design has been growing on me so much, I think I have to get another one if I want to do that, because I think I have to have one. It's just for having Liquid Thorn. I got it at a discount because the box was damaged. So, I've heard, this one seems to be a very polarizing one. People either love it or hate it. And I'm definitely in the previous group. It's got a similar V-fin to its sister. I don't mind the little bird feet at all. I don't mind it when a mobile suit has no feet. Why would I care if its feet are kind of small? Or has no legs, so yeah, why would I care if the legs are small if I don't care if they don't have any? But I totally thought in the show that it was gonna combine with the Liquid Thorn and have like especially because like the Liquid Thorn has kind of, or Liquid has kind of small like thighs. I thought it was gonna like have these thighs and then the like feet of the like and it was gonna like have both this like backpack part and the one of the Liprith but then that didn't happen. But anyway, then the big arms, I think, work really well in contrast to the like really short feet. And it's like, it sort of reminds me of in Gundam Thunderbolt, the way that it was said that legs became like almost like landing gear for Mecha. I really, really like these vents here. They're great. And then also the shoulders. So this one definitely goes in A tier, right there. Okay, now the Zawart Heavy. Originally, I actually wasn't going to include the Zawart. I was just going to include the Zawart Heavy representing both designs. But they were both separately requested from me, or by people on my Discord server. So I've done both. So I do like the headpiece, or like the antenna thing of the normal one. But I'm a big fan of this gun and this missile launcher. They feel very Armored Core-like, and then the gun feels even more Armored Core-like than the original. And then it's like, if the other one felt like an Armored Core, this one just basically is an Armored Core. It's obviously way bigger than Armored Cores are, but it's like, it really feels very Armored Core-like. This feels like a 3rd gen, or maybe 2nd gen Armored Core. No, more like 2nd gen. Goodbye, good night, 99. Okay, goodbye, Soupy. Thanks for stopping by. I'll know in my heart that every other one that I show is your favorite. Although you don't get to see the one that looks even more like a bunny. The designer of those words worked on Armored Core 4. Yes, I believe he did. Actually, that was like, that and JNT Head people were really excited. Specifically because it was like they were big names from Armored Core. It was, what's his name? Wataru something, let me check. Okay, Wataru Inata. Yes. People were excited because JNT Head and Wataru Inata were coming on to Wish for Mercury, and I think it worked out great, especially with these ones. They do feel like very Armored Core like, and especially this one, if you told me this was a design from an if this was from Armored Core 2, I would absolutely believe you. The only thing is, on my build, would definitely not have that big cannon there, because I don't want to have to stop in the middle of my combat and sit down to fire it. But if I was using Human Plus, I probably would, but I've never actually used Human Plus. Okay, let's go for another Pale Technologies. Okay, the Farract. So the feet are very interesting, especially with these this large back part. That's very cool. I gotta say, I really like the improved weapons version. I almost considered using that line art where it has the 2 guns that combine into one. But I didn't, because this is the more recognizable version. I like the way you can see that it's it shares some lineage with the Zawart. You can see that in the shape of the legs here, this part here, and the arms. Actually, arms in general are very Zawart-like. And even the way this points forward a bit. I'm a huge fan of the head. The head's my favorite part of it. I might like it better with it when the chin piece is off. I don't know. Either way. It's very cool either way. I really like these the cowl that it has here. And then I think the weapons are maybe a reference to Gundam 00, because first it has the this very sniper rifle style sniper like Dynamiz. Then it has one that in some way or another is a sniper rifle when it's longer. And then when it, like from the middle, it can shoot a machine gun, which is more like Cheridam's, although it's like combining into two instead of splitting it in half, but still. I think it could definitely be a reference to Dynamis and Cheridam, which is very cool. The gun, especially the muzzle brake, reminds me of World War II anti-tank rifles. It very much does. But yeah, I think the head is definitely, for me, the standout. And I like how a lot of the Gundams from Mercury have large eyes, because I really like large eyes in my wool suits. And this one is, we'll say, we'll put it right there. I used to like it less than the Zawart, but I think I kind of like it more than the Zawart now. Actually, recently I'm liking it a lot more. We'll put it there, actually. Okay, now for the normal Demi-Trainer. Compared to Choo-Choo's, you can see that this is a more advanced version. Things like the knees are different and feel more advanced. The arm shape is a little bit different. The shoulder parts almost look like the double O riser. Yeah, actually, I can see it. Yeah. Oh, honestly, the Witch from Mercury's style in general is somewhat similar to the Double O style, which explains why I like the design so much. So, another thing that I didn't actually mention in the Choo-Choo one is I think the forearms are a bit long, which it kind of has to be with how the, like, or not forearms, the upper arms. It kind of has to be with how the forearms and wrists are. But that doesn't mean I necessarily like that. And then the, I do like the way this, like, piece of color can be used to, like, denote teams. That's cool. But yeah, it has a lot of the same drawbacks to the design. Or not drawbacks, but things that I don't like, personally, as Choo-Choo's. I appreciate what it is, but that doesn't mean that I personally like it, and I think I like this a little bit less than Choo-Choo's. A lot of people compare the fabric shoulders to the Hurudu. It does look a lot like the Hurudu too. Yeah. Okay, now for the Beggar Bow Torch. I absolutely adore this thing. It takes everything I love about the Beggar Bow, and it doesn't change any of that except maybe the fairy-like silhouette, and it makes it so much cooler. Especially these like almost Exia Avalanche like legs, and even more so the horns basically. It's a bun, yes indeed. This is what I was talking about to Soupy when I said there's one that looked more like a bunny. It keeps the pods, but it's like it really is like it keeps, other than the crazy feet, it keeps almost everything that I like about the actually, come to think of it, no, those are the feet, just like in the folded up form, I think. No, they're slightly different, but still. This keeps most of the things that I like about the Beggar Bow, and then even it improves on some of them. Like I like the shoulders more, I like the head a lot more. I might like the backpack more. So I actually really regret not being able to get this on P-Bandai because, again, I'm broke. I love the Beggar Bow Torch. I hope they reprint it when I have money. And the head in general, it's like, it feels more aggressive a little bit. Why is this blanking at the back? So this one, it's gonna go, I might even put it at S. I don't know. Well, for now, we'll just put it right there. So we'll actually go for another Beggar Bow based design, the Beggar Pente, which is the opposite. So the head feels a little bit more like derpy, I guess. I'm not a huge fan of the shield. In universe, the shield is an objective, very much improvement. It fixes the fact that the Beggar Bow's like gun-stopping pod things are a weakness because they're just physically weak. It doesn't have the swords anymore, so downside there. The big rifle is cool, but it's not as good as the swords. It's not as cool as the swords at all. And then this, who came up with this color scheme? Because it is just no. I'm not a big fan. It's, if the purple was like a much lighter shade, it could work. But the way that this shade of purple interacts with this shade of red, which is darker in the show than it is in the line art, by the way. Yeah, I'm not a big fan. The way that MS Halt's weapon reminds me of Providence, it kind of does, yeah. Because of this, they have a similar, like, the gun's a big size on both. It's similar to how bazookas are held. You can notice that a lot if you play a lot of Gundam Breaker 2, the way you can see the mobile suit's hand move when it holds a bazooka. But yeah, this is like what if we took the bigger bow and made it worse in every way? Oh, except the one thing that's better, the antenna. But you could put that on the bigger bow anyway. So we're gonna put it there out of spite because it's worse than the original. Okay, now for another one that's kind of obscure, the Cargor. I really like the gun on this one. And this one also kind of feels like, if this one feels like it could be in either, it feels almost like a cross in the mechanical design styles of Afterwar Gundam X and Gundam 00. Like the shoulders and legs especially feel very Gundam X, and then the head feels very 00, you know? Overall, I'm a big fan. I like the way that it has a just like, it flows well. The design flows well. The shield is interesting too. We don't see shields of this sort of shape very often. I'm gonna guess this is a Kanetani Biko design. Let me look. Nope, it's a Takayuki Yanase design. Well, like I said, their design styles are kind of similar. But yeah, it's very chunky. I like this one. Actually, I should have guessed from this part here that it was Takayuki Yanase. That's his more of his style for detailing. But I really like this visor, especially with like the secondary visors there on the sides of the head. They're very nice. It's not typically my style with how like chunky it is, but I appreciate the design a lot. The lower parts of it almost like a Leo. That's true actually, especially with like the color scheme. But this one is going to get I like it better than the demis. Probably put it right here. Okay, now finally for the demis to have something that I actually like, the demi barding. So it keeps the like, I think this would still have compatibility with the normal demi or the demi garrison's arms, which is good. But I really like this rifle. It's a very nice design, as well as the pod on the back. I like the fact that even though it can be used separately, it also helps the mobile suit when it's like on it. The shoulders are the standout piece for this, honestly. I really like the shoulders, actually. The head is also quite nice, but mostly the shoulders are what I really like. And the backpack. The leg thrusters are, I think, better than other demis. For my taste, anyway. Yeah, I don't actually have that much to say about this one, come to think of it. I do like the way the chest, like, points forward. I like this a lot more than other demis. We don't see cables like this on the shoulders like that very much, even though that's probably one of the less vulnerable spots for a cable to be in. So we're going to put this right here. Okay, now for one that people might have some disagreements for me with. Ariel. So first of all, it's not nearly as bad. It's worse on the line art, honestly, but the way that, like, if you look at it, if we compare the size, like the like from the hip to the knee is like markedly longer than from the knee to the foot. It's like a lot longer, and I don't really like that. Again, it's not as bad in the high grade or animation as it is in the line art. Like J&T Head's line art is not the best. His designs are better than his line art. But I do really like the rifle. That's quite good. The head is mostly what I really like about Ariel. I love Ariel's head, especially with those big eyes. Again, I really like big eyes on Mecha. I think it stems from my childhood love of the 90s design of Spider-Man. Barbatos' long-lost sister. See, I don't actually see this as being that similar to Barbatos. All it's really got is the fact that the feet are kind of flat, and it's got a thin chest, and then I guess the pointiness of the chin maybe, but that's all I'm really seeing. I see a lot of people making that comparison, but I just personally don't see it. I do really like the bit-on form, particularly these ones on the back being there in that way. The back skirt thrusters that these become is great. I really like it. And the idea that the bits help it have more mobility when they're not actually being used as bits is I like that idea a lot. I feel like that was something that a design that's more like the new Gundam probably could have done that but didn't. But it works better with Ariel than it could have worked with something like new Gundam. I like these like vents, and the way that the Bandai did the shell units looks great. I wish there was a shell on line art for Ariel, particularly with the bit on form. The other thing I'm not a huge fan of is these feet. The feet look kind of ugly to me. I like that it's a lighter shade of blue though. We don't see these like really light shades of blue very often in Gundam. But I mean, I like the design enough to have both the high grade and the full mechanics. I'm mostly, a lot of what I'm saying about it is kind of bad things, but like I do think the design of the chest is a little bit busy, but again, clearly I like it enough to have both the full mechanics and the high grade. So I actually don't hate this, so don't get angry at me. Actually, I think I have mine. What am I think I might using the Echelon. Where is it? Maybe I haven't unpacked. Yeah, okay, never mind. I haven't unpacked Ariel yet. I should unpack more soon. I just don't have that much space because I don't have enough bookshelves. I need to get more bookshelves. But I think I have mine having Ariel in her Echelon because I have Ariel rebuild with it on the gun. I have both the full mechanics Ariel and Caliban in the bit on form, so I figured I should have one of them in using the Echelon. But we'll put this. It is still a good design. We'll put it. I think we gotta put it in B tier. Right there, high B. Okay, so now for the Hyngra. So a lot of the complaints that I had about the previous one still apply here. I think the head maybe looks a little bit less bad with this camera. I actually do really like this rifle. That's very nice looking. The shield is okay. It's pretty. Yeah, I definitely don't dislike it. I like it a decent amount. Other than that, I don't have much new to say about it. I probably shouldn't have added this. I probably should have just kept it as one or the other. But we'll put it above the Hindry. Okay, now Michaelis, you can definitely tell this is based on Beggar Bow. And there's definitely things that I think actually it improves upon. Like the shape right here specifically is actually, I think, better than the Beggar Bow. The feet, again, I really like the weird claw feet, but the lower legs and feet of this I actually like more, especially with this like piece here. But that's about where the things I like better end. So the arm cannon is very cool, but I don't like it as much as the Beggar Bow's swords. I do also really like this like weird shield thing. And I actually, now that I'm like actually like paying attention to the individual parts, I'm liking this more than I remembered liking it. Actually, I also like this front part, this front skirt armor, the cod plate, better than Beggar Bow. But overall, generally, Michaelis, got that in my backlog, the Witch Hunter, yes. The head I don't like as much, except for this antenna, which I also think would feel, or like would go perfect on Bigger Bow. And actually, these shoulders could be, they could be better on Bigger Bow. But overall, I don't like this as much as Bigger Bow. So we'll put it right there. Okay, now for the aerial rebuild. Which actually only has a bit on Formula line art, surprisingly. So when this was first revealed, I actually didn't like it very much. What I'm about to say is definitely spoilers for the show, so don't listen for the next like 30 seconds if you don't want to. So what made me eventually start liking it more is realizing this is not Suletta's mobile suit, because it doesn't feel like it suits her, and that was kind of an issue I had with it. But when I started thinking of it as Eric's mobile suit, I started liking it a lot more. And that's, I did eventually get the high grade of it, as I mentioned earlier, so I like it enough for that. I think the blue feet, in general I like the feet more, but the blue feet really suit this well. I tend to prefer red feet, so I'm not a huge fan of the current trend for blue feet or white feet. But they work really well in this instance. Generally, a lot of this is more blocky than aerial. The chest looks nice. I like these like the second antenna here, although it lacks the like same degree of bunny ears that Ariel had, which makes it feel less. It makes it feel more serious, which works for what it is. The single mouth vent is something we don't see very often. I still am not a big fan of these, the way these were designed. I do like that they were used to like invoke the double riser with its first sorties, so that's nice. But the rifle is very cool though, and it also referenced the Wing Zero, which is why I put mine in the Wing Zero pose. Mostly I see this as a downgrade visually to Ariel. I don't like it as much as the normal Ariel, but now that I've given it more of a chance, and I've also realized that thing that I said earlier that I don't want to say again because spoilers for people who haven't seen it. I'm starting to like it a lot more. I actually do really like the shoulders more. That's one of the things the feet and the shoulders are the parts that I like more. Maybe the arms also. Maybe. Like the lower arms. So we'll put this just below Ariel. Okay, next. The Delanza. So this is the Zaku 2 of the series. If the Desultor is the Zaku 1, then this is the Zaku 2. The gun is again very nice. We love those Ippei Gobyo gun designs. I actually kind of hate the feet. I'm sorry, but I kind of hate the feet. This has that same sort of like pointy shape that I'm not a huge fan of from the Garibaldi. I like the face. It's interesting. It looks very weird, but I don't hate it. We've got again that Zaku 1 inspired shoulder shield. I mean Zaku 2 inspired shoulder shield, because you know we have to. The arm joint here is very interesting. I can only imagine that made it easy for Bandai to give the arm joint a good amount of posability on the high grade. I'm not a fan of the way this like shape is here on the legs. I don't like it a lot. In general, I'm not a huge fan of the Delanza, and also I did not include the Delanza Soul, which maybe I should have included that instead of this because I like the Delanza Soul a little bit better. Or Lotus Delanza, which is basically just this with a different shoulder shield and an axe and a different head ornament. Or Guel's Delanza, which just has different shoulder shields and like a different backpack and a different head and a spear. So I didn't include either of those. And this sort of looks like a Zaku 3 more or less with the bulky look. It does have the bulk, yeah. But yeah, I didn't include any other Delanza, so this represents all of our Delanzas. Because they're, you know, in the end, it's a Delanza. And I'm gonna actually put this right at the bottom. I'm realizing how much I dislike this now. Okay, so now for another more obscure one, that didn't get very much screen time, unfortunately, is the Zvaldi. Alright, Zvaldi, was it Zvaldi or Zvalvi? It was Zvalvi, I think. Maybe? I don't remember. I think it was Zvalvi. Anyway, the Zvalvi from VRAN system, I think, yeah. It wasn't really said much in the show, so it's one of the ones I don't remember the specifics of that much. Let me check. The GM of which from Mercury. That seems somewhat accurate. Also, Sprockets, hello, welcome to the stream. Yes. Okay. And then this one almost looks like that one Armored Core that Takayuki Yanase designed for Armored Core 6. If the design was way better, if I'll be honest, I like this one a lot more. But it's got some of the same similar aspects. The head mostly I like a lot. I love the head. I really like the legs and feet design, especially this is like kind of clawed at the back almost. And the way it flows is perfect. I like the way this like goes to a point. The way this like interacts with the point here is perfect. It is like a Steel Haze Ordis. That's it. And it is the same mechanical designer, I think. The head looks like a shark. It kind of does, yeah. A shark with a gym visor. I really like these thrusters here. I would love for this to get a kit, except the only thing I don't like is this. Its primary weapon. I'm not a big fan. I would give it something else. Maybe a rifle or beam sabers. I would probably give it beam sabers. And maybe it has beam sabers of its own. I don't know. Or maybe that's its only weapon, which in that case, no wonder it didn't do well. It does have the Vulcans at least, but anyway, this is actually gonna be another S tier. Okay, now for the Liprith itself. So compared to Ariel, I do actually like the feet more, even though they're a little bit flat. This actually does feel very like prototype-y. I like the bunny ears. Those are nice. And then it has a similar head styling to Ariel. But yeah, a lot of these like I don't know how to explain it, but the feet or the legs, the legs, they do feel kind of prototype-ish. I don't. It's for chopping a mess. I know it's for chopping a mess, but that doesn't mean I have to like it. Anyway, the bit on form is similar to Ariel, but that backpack is different. I actually do really like the backpack. But yeah, the chest is more busy than Ariel even, but especially for a prototype, it's fine. I do like this a little bit less than Ariel, but I also really like the white and pink color scheme. It's very interesting. We'll put it right there. Okay, now for one of the ones that people specifically requested, the Liprith Animata. So, particularly with these legs, you can definitely tell that it's a modified Liprith. The feet feel more unique. They still have the same general shape and like frame shape as the Liprith, but the armor is different, and it feels very, especially with this back part. This is definitely a Ippei Gobyo design, and you can easily tell always is the hands. If it has hands that look like this, that's Ippei Gobyo. He draws his hands like that. But yeah, the arms are mostly still Liprith. The chest is one of the main different parts, and the head. The head is actually the main difference, and I do really like the head. I think that's where it differs from Liprith more. Feet looks like something you should pick from IBO. Yeah, and that's because of its Ippei Gobyo. That's just the electric wielding MS. Yep. Okay, I'm now out of chocolate milk. I built it yesterday. I still do not have the high grade. I really like these swords and the way they're like stored in the shield. That's very cool. The chest feels a lot less busy than the normal Librith. And then also, again, the shell units feel a little bit more combat ready with the way that they're shaped here. Less than the Librith Thorn and but they do feel pretty combat ready, and I really like that a lot. And we're going to put this actually, I think, above a normal aerial. What about this down to C? There's an engine in the back bottom of the feet. That makes sense, yeah. So now for the Librith pre-production type. So the head isn't actually changed, but with this color scheme, it looks and without the antenna, it looks a bit more angry. You know, the bits being in here makes sense for a pre-production type. It makes sense that they would just like sort of throw that on there until they could do something better. I actually don't remember if this here is a bit or not. Bald. Yeah, it does look a bit bald because of the lack of any V-fin or head ornament. Other than that, it's mostly just the same as the normal Librith. Supposed to go to B tier at least. Well, the Librith is in B tier. I might end up putting it a bit higher. Actually, I might put it above Michaelis. No, I'll put it below Michaelis still. Oh, the Beggar Pente is supposed to... No, the Beggar Pente goes to C. Sucks that it has no Beam Saber. That's true, yeah. This would be improved by the addition of Beam Saber, but it's just a pre-production type, so... Anyway. The, yeah, it's... Other than that, I don't have that much to say because it is very similar, but I do like it a bit less. We'll say it just barely is less than, that. Short side I can't justify. Let's put that in there, actually. Okay, now Librith GU, which, surprisingly, there did not exist any line art of the Librith GU with the, like, tiger claw. At all. It doesn't have line art of it. So I had to put this there, which also included, modifying the line art of this, like, handle so it could actually be holding it. And A tier might be like, oh, well, I mean, it's close to A tier. But no, it's... I don't like it quite enough for A tier. So this is... I really like this one a lot. I love the way the shoulders are, like, pointy. It almost feels similar to some Age designs, like the Age Sordia. H1 Sordia. I like the head design. You can see it still has eyes and mouth fence there, but it's like... It feels faceless unless you really look at it, but... It's... The attention to detail there with, like, giving it that, like, eyes and mouth... It's very nice. And then I like these, like, 3 lights. I pose my left to use it as if the G uppercut someone. That makes sense. It's a good... That makes... Yeah. That would be a good pose for this, yes. I want to know what this came from. What the arm came from. Give me that full design, Bandai. Now! Make a G-Witch MSV and then... Give me the full design this came from. I need it. It's not fair. You can't just give us just this. Anyway. The way that this, like, flows is perfect. And then it's got this shape here is sort of like the, Gunvolva. The arm must have come from an MA. I guess that would depend on your definition of MA, because I would expect it would have come from just a large mobile suit, but some people would consider a mobile suit that large to be an MA, even if it does not transform or anything. But I would not, personally. I really like that you can't see it that well, but the thruster here on the side, that's perfect. The feet shape is also amazing. This piece here feels a little extraneous, this, like, piece that goes across there, but I don't dislike it, so... And the armor and the legs has a nice layered feel. It's very... Oh, and the knee piece is also great. It's like, it's very detailed, but it doesn't come off as over-designed or, like, cluttered. And this one is definitely going in A tier. Probably, actually, this one might be an S. We're gonna put this in S tier. Maybe even above the Zavalvi. I keep saying Zavalvi. Do I like it more than Caliburn? Or Caliban? Calibarn? Yeah. Do I like more than Caliban? No, maybe. I think I do. Okay, so for another odd, not very well-known one, the Prodoros, which surprisingly, nobody seems to know who designed this thing as far as I can tell. Except that Kanetani Ibikawa designed the cockpit, and overall, this looks like a Kanetani Ibikawa design. But the fact that it says that specifically he designed just the cockpit makes me feel like it's not. But anyway, it feels almost ogre-like, the way this is. First of all, the way this like goes forward gives a horn-like appearance with the almost graze-like face, with the like when the graze opens its like face, and then the big feet. That small piece of the feet preventing it from sitting upright on a flat surface. You need to use the sand if people to come. Oh damn! I would not have guessed that, but oh well. As long as it comes with a stand. I like these like parts here, and that interacts with the overall shape. This has a very organic shape. It almost feels like it'd be a person wearing a suit, almost, but not quite. Which I think is a good place for a mecha design to be at. The arms are surprising. It's surprising how like the way that the how do I put this? It feels like a very curved design, even though it's actually like a good mix of curves and flats. But you just don't notice the fact that like these arms are very like bulky and angular and curved. But it is, and I do like this one a decent amount. So that's gonna actually go. Right there. Okay, now for another weird one. This was, I think, a kind of Tanibiko design. This is the, actually, I don't remember. Let me check. This was... Okay, the Azra one. This is a very weird one. It's a creature. This is a creature design. It's I don't know how to explain it, but it's like this feels like a silly weird creature guy thing, you know? It's weird that it sort of has a V-fin. I like these like cables here. And these arms feel almost Xeon Aquatic MS like the Zagok or the Gog. I wonder how much mobility these legs would even have. But I do like it a decent amount for what it is. It's very silly looking. And we'll put it... I think I like it more than the demis, honestly. Okay, so for another another kind of odd one, the Rakauri. It's definitely an odd design. I do like this beam rifle a decent amount. A lot of which Mercury beam rifles are really good. It's nice that we have all of these like random tiny designs that like how do I explain? It's like they make the world feel more real, you know? I like these like antennae, like the blade antennae here. Looks like a power gym. It kind of does, yeah. Like some sort of armored up gym. It's very fat and very squat. I'm not a big fan of this like armor piece or the like knee area in general, but it's also not horrible. The cockpit is an interesting place in shape. I mentioned this would have to come up for the cockpit to open. I'm not a huge fan of this one. Why did I put those above this? No. Okay. We'll put it right there. Okay, another weird creature mobile suit. The Holster 2. They better give us a Holster 1 at some point in a Witcher Mercury MSV, so that we know what it looked like. This definitely, I don't actually know, but I'm assuming this has got to be an Ipe Gobi design. We're like Jim Cannon from Stardust Memory. Yeah, but this is like, it's got to be an Ipe Gobi design. Like, look at the way this is shaped, the way this visor is done. The way the legs flow, this is absolutely Ipe Gobio's work. The like arm claw things are very interesting. It's interesting how it works with the big arms. This almost looks like an aquatic mobile suit, and maybe it is, even though we don't see it used in an aquatic setting. It's a Zagak, yeah, kind of. That's what I was just saying. It sort of looks like an aquatic mobile suit. This part on the foot is interesting, and I wonder if that would have like insane articulation, like the really high-grade Zaku's. But it's like, there's not that much to actually say about it. I do like this vent here and these vents here. The way that the vents are all actually perfect in shape and design, in placement. I do really like the head, especially with the Vulcans here. I'm not a big fan of this horn though. And we'll put this right there. The head looks very flat. I don't even know why it has a head. At the point, just integrate into the body like a cock. Okay, this one I actually really do like, and it was the Capel Coup. And what I like about it is that it's instantly recognizable as a Kenshi Teroka design. Like, again, this could be like some weird a head variant from 00, because that's what I'm used to seeing as far as Kenshi Teroka's designs. But it's very good. I almost went with the Capel Geo instead of the Capel Coup, but I decided to go with the Capel Coup because it looks more like the base design, which the line art, or so the model numbers also second this. But it's got this, like, the way that the arms are in comparison to the body, like the placement and then the way they're attached, it's similar to the head from Gundam 00, as are the feet. And in general, this is like I said, it's very instantly recognizable as Kenshi Teroka's style, and I really like it for that. The gun is interesting, especially with this like bayonet. I really like this like piece here, and the way these vents are done, very interesting and very unique. These, like, the way that the like leg armor flares out to protect the joint of the leg, or the like ankle, is very nice. This one also has sort of an ogre-like appearance with the one eye and the way it stands, the strong-looking arms, and the way that the head is like sunken into the body somewhat. It has an ogre-like appearance, but I do actually really like this one, and I'm gonna put it right there. Okay, now the very newly revealed Gundam Nyan, which apparently is getting a high grade. I can already tell you right now, I will absolutely be getting that. I love this thing. So the way the shoulders are is pretty nice. I really like the big eyes. The V-fin, the way the V-fin is it's not that typical. It's more close together, almost like an astray in that way. But it's very nice. I like this like chin plate again. We should be seeing a pattern. What's the Legilis doing for Mercury? I've seen some people compare it to the Legilis, yeah. It also, the way the design flows is similar to Yoichi Shinko's work for Zone of the Enders. Mostly just in the way it flows. The individual shapes aren't actually that similar, but I really like the way this part is done, and almost this like plate here. And then also these like rib-like parts, which almost remind me of guard frames. People are thinking this is probably a like basically a competitor to the Lifrith from before Gund Tech was banned. And if that's the case in terms of design, it absolutely blows Lifrith out of the water. Gotta go, I need to sleep. Okay, thanks for stopping by. Have a nice sleep. And I hope you get more better soon. But this one, I really wish instead of that staff that it had a sword. Because, you know, I'm a sword girl. Particularly if it had a physical sword, but it probably does at least have beam sabers. And I'm gonna put this right at the top of S tier. Right where it belongs. Okay, and finally we'll end it off with the more obscure Klibari. So I like the way this like can turn into a tank, and the arms are also very unique. Or not the arms, the hands. Again, it's another three-armed one, or three-fingered one, which we see the three-fingered hands more often in Mercury, which is very interesting. The head looks kind of squished, but it works with the way the design is. I like the way that it can transform into a tank. I don't have the image here, obviously, but you can see that like these parts become the front of the tank, and this becomes the back of the tank. It's like a hover tank, I think. And then the cannons work for that as well. So I guess this is the Witch from Mercury gun tank. But yeah, also with the missile launchers that are like not even on the arms, but integrated into the arms. That's very interesting. The head looks like an Iron Orphan's mobile worker. It kind of does, actually, yeah. But yeah, I do really like this one, especially I can only imagine that it still needs to use the hovering of the back skirt, well, what is right now the back skirt, to actually be able to properly stay upright while the feet are moving. It does seem like it's more focused for the tank mode. So the RTX 44 comes to the Witch from Mercury timeline. Yeah, it is definitely similar to that. And then I wonder who designed the Klibari. It looks like another Kenji Teruoka design with just less of his like specific style. But let me check. Yes, okay, that is in fact Kenji Teruoka. Okay, so, and it's like, I do really like a lot of the aspects of this design. And then I'm gonna put this... right here. Yeah, it's nice to see Kenji Teruoka come back for a Gundam design. Okay, so I think this can probably be the finished tier list. Is there anything else I want to change? I just realized it's kind of funny to see all the aerials and Lifriths well, almost all the aerials and Lifriths all bunched up like that. The only two that aren't there is this Lifrith and this Lifrith. And I guess Ariel, if you want to count that. So that's kind of funny to see, but I think actually this is good. I really need to build my short set. And as soon as they make it, I need to get the Nyan, which unfortunately is P Bandai. That really sucks. But yeah, I think this is good. I almost want to put Lifrith GU higher than Gunvolva. Actually, I think I might. No, we'll let the Gunvolva have its spot in the limelight for now. So yeah, this will be our final tier list. So thank you all for watching. And remember that eventually, when I'm done with all of the other ones, which should just be after G-Quacks, after G-Quacks finishes airing, and I can do that tier list. Thought you were gonna with the neon kit. Well, the neon doesn't have it doesn't have a kit yet, so we've seen the prototypes though, and it looks really nice. But yes, after I do the G-Quacks one, I will be doing one big tier list with all the S tiers of the entire Gundam franchise. So that's actually finally that's really coming up now. We're getting very close. And then maybe I'll do the same thing for Macross, or maybe just one tier list for all of Macross, but that would be a giant tier list. So yes, thank you all for watching. I appreciate you all for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Oh wait, tomorrow's stream. Wait, first of all, let me check if I have someone to raid. I do, and tomorrow's stream is going to be Sonic CD. Yes, I finished Sonic 2, so now it's going to be Sonic CD soon. Actually, I need to go to the bathroom, so I don't have to, like, kind of badly, so I don't have time to raid. So I'll just end off today. We don't need to raid every time. So yes, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.